Good afternoon, everyone. I'm State Representative C.D. Davidsmeyer. I represent all or part of 10 counties in west central Illinois, the 100th District. We're here today to talk about missed priorities of the Democrat supermajority in the General Assembly. Illinois is facing significant problems with our budget, with public safety, high taxes, and high cost of living. Just last week, COGFA projected a massive $737 million state budget shortfall for next year and an additional over $500 million shortfall for this year. Then the Auditor General recently released an audit of the taxpayer-funded health care for illegal immigrants. That audit showed that the actual cost of the program was 286% greater than what the Pritzker administration had thought was going to happen. The state has spent more than $2.2 billion, billion with a B, in taxpayer funds on free health care for illegal immigrants. I'm sponsoring legislation to end this massively expensive program. What is the Democrat supermajority doing about all of the problems that are on our plate? Zero, zip, zilch, nothing. In fact, Democrats are pushing crazy legislation that would make our policies and our budget problems even worse. Let's start with the illegal immigration. Due to the failed Biden open border policies, we have more than 530,000 illegal immigrants in the state of Illinois. Let me be clear that without these open border policies, we wouldn't be having these ICE raids that are going on right now. The Democrats' sanctuary state policies and giveaways to illegal immigrants are incentives for them to come. If you build it, they will come, and they have. I have again filed legislation to repeal the Trust Act and end Illinois sanctuary state policies. And what are the Democrats doing? They're doubling down on their failed immigration policies. House Bill 2706 would further restrict law enforcement's ability from cooperating with ICE and immigration officials at the federal level. They say it's closing loopholes, but I say it's allowing criminals to run free and create less opportunity for law enforcement to work together to rid our communities of crime. They also have House Bill 3780, which would provide universal health care for all individuals residing in the state of Illinois, regardless of immigration status. I can only imagine how many billions, tens of billions of dollars that this program would cost. Keep in mind that just last year, the cost just for state employee health care went up over $1 billion, and they're expecting it to go up another $1 billion this year. That's just state employees. Rather than working with Republicans to find relief for hardworking taxpayers and bringing down the cost of living, Democrats are once again looking to raise taxes. I bring you Senate Joint Resolution Committee Amendment, Constitutional Amendment 4, which is another progressive income tax increase. This is the same thing that voters defeated years ago. The voters were clear in saying that the state of Illinois and the state government does not deserve more of our money. Meanwhile, since that was on the ballot, our budget has gone up $15 billion every year. So now we're $15 billion higher than when the people of the state of Illinois said that we don't deserve any more of their money. What are some of the other doozies that we're seeing that Democrats have put out? Let's see, there's House Bill 3518, which would legalize prostitution. There's a bill to make obesity a protected class rather than focusing on health care and improving people's health care and improving that for the entire health care system. We're just going to make obesity a protected class. The no voter ID, okay, no voter ID. They're talking about they won't allow voter ID, but they want to make sure that we can vote from prison. What about environmental justice communities or eliminating grocery bags or plastic silverware bans? and more Green New Deal scams. None of these bad bills will reduce the cost of living for Illinois families. I think I've made my point. The Democrat supermajority needs to stop tripping on mushrooms, magic mushrooms, and yes, there is a bill for that. And they need to get down to focusing on what helps Illinois families. Now I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Representative Santilitro.
Gotta get this low. Thank you, Representative Davidsmeyer. Good afternoon. I'm State Representative Jennifer Santilitro from the 48th District. I represent Northern DuPage and Northwest Cook County in the General Assembly. I'm here today with my colleagues to call out the continued failures and hypocrisy of the majority party governing our state. Just a few weeks ago, House Republicans walked off the floor in protest because Democrats spent an entire session day debating no-teeth resolutions on federal issues outside the responsibility of state government, while ignoring the real problems facing Illinois families. One of the biggest concerns I hear time and time again from my constituents is frustration with the state's broken tax system, but instead of addressing it, Democrat lawmakers continually spend their time criticizing the new administration's federal trade policies while ignoring the tax burdens they've created right here in Illinois. Illinois families already face the highest state and local tax burden in the nation. Instead of fixing it, the governor has proposed the largest budget in state history at $55.2 billion. This massive spending plan will not fix our tax system. It will only make things worse for hardworking families and businesses. Illinoisans deserve a government that puts them first, but instead, look at what Illinois lawmakers are prioritizing. While my colleagues and I fight to lower taxes, the majority party wants to legalize prostitution, give judges discretion to reduce penalties for first-degree murder for those under 21, put price restrictions on water bottles, ban grocery bags, and give special favor for skunk and raccoon rehabilitation. You don't need to be a policy expert to know this absolutely stinks to high heaven. We need ideas that actually solve problems for Illinois families. I have two different policies and proposals that would lower the tax burden on working families and provide real relief. The proposals eliminate taxes on tips and overtime pay and would certainly reduce the high tax burden on working Illinoisans. However, despite the insincere political grandstanding about high taxes, the majority party has kept both bills from even being discussed in committee. There are many other examples of their misplaced priorities, but that is not going to stop me from working across the aisle, because I know working together is how we can make a difference. So I will now hand it off to Representative Howder to discuss more on the Republican issues and get us back on track.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to apologize. I have a little bit of a hoarseness going on. Whatever I have, I know would have killed Leader Davidsmeyer by now, but for me, it's just a slight tickle in the throat. But I am State Representative Bill Howder. I represent the 87th District. The 87th District is Morton, Clinton, and Lincoln, Illinois. The state of Illinois, as you know, is in serious trouble, but you wouldn't know it from looking at the Illinois House of Representatives. Like my colleague, Leader Davidsmeyer mentioned, we've seen a report from our nonpartisan fiscal watchdog agency that the state is going to have $700 million in less revenue than what the governor projected in his budget presentation. Surprise, surprise. Instead of focusing on state finances or any number of serious challenges our state faces, we see the true priorities of the Democrat Party in Illinois. When the former Speaker of the Illinois House was convicted on federal corruption charges, we saw no changes in ethics laws. How many more convictions do we have to have before there's any serious effort at ethics reform? We have a governor who promised not to sign a gerrymandered map, and yet Illinois currently has the most unfair, partisan, gerrymandered maps. I call it the manipulated map majority. We should be talking about fair maps, about ensuring that every Illinoisan has a right to pick their elected officials instead of their elected officials picking which Illinoisans they represent. Budget, ethics, voter disenfranchisement. These are important issues. We should be talking about them nonstop. The issues before the Illinois House Republicans will continue to sound off on. We saw we heard some of the bills from last year. Last year we voted on petting a bear, whether a dog can sit on your lap while driving, important. And if residents can own exotic cats and kangaroos. We got to do better. I mean, we have to be serious. Bills must be heard that actually improve Illinoisans' lives. We hear all the time, winners do the work. We're here to do the work. And we want to be winners too.